This summer, I'm running a new series of videos in which I review classic episodes of Doctor Who. Each week will see me watch a popular story from each Doctor that I've never seen before, then give my thoughts on the episode in a short but detailed review. I continued this week with the fourth Doctor serial, Pyramids of Mars. I've had this story recommended to me multiple times in the past, and it's often referred to as a classic in the fandom. This comes as no surprise, as the story features one of the most popular Doctors and one of the most popular companions, plus a very creepy villain. The plot sees the TARDIS take the Doctor and Sarah to a priory owned by the mysterious Marcus Scarman, an experienced archaeologist with an interest in ancient Egypt. However, since his most recent trip to the pyramids, he goes missing, leaving all his findings in his home, which is suddenly occupied by a strange Egyptian. Before long, Scarman returns, possessed by the villainous Sutekh, an alien god intent on destroying all life in the universe, desperate to escape his pyramid prison on Mars. I thought the plot of this story was excellent. It's the first 4-part episode I've seen so far in this series. The other 3 have all been 6 parts long. I found this format a little boring, and in some cases stories felt too drawn out when split into 6 parts. I've also found in the past that it can potentially be tempting to include filler parts in longer stories, particularly in some of the early 60s episodes, so I can safely say that I much preferred watching a 4-parter. In Pyramids of Mars, the plot was always action-packed and full of momentum, allowing more to happen in the story, while still keeping to 4 entertaining parts. The main enemy in the episode was Sutekh, an evil siren that despises life, who has become part of Egyptian mythology. I thought it was great how Sutekh was a creature whose main motive was survival, as it made him a well-rounded villain and all the more creepy. I loved seeing Sutekh possess other characters in order to get his own way, and thought it was a genius idea to use the symbol of the sarcophagus to represent the link between Earth and Mars. Another key element of Egyptian mythology used in the story was the Robotica Siren service mummies. Although not as freaky as the foretold from the revived series, these mummies were still considerably scary and served an important part in the plot. One of my favourite moments with these creatures was at the climax of Part 2, when they invaded Scarman's brother's house. Even though they can't speak and have motionless faces, the way that they entered the house so quickly and attacked the Doctor and Sarah was quite unnerving and made them appear a real threat. The TARDIS team in this story is definitely one of the best I've seen yet. The 4th Doctor was very alien, still however allowing for some brief moments of humour, rather like Peter Capaldi's incarnation of the Time Lord. On the contrary, Sarah Jane was very human and lively, making the perfect match for number 4. There was one moment that was particularly reminiscent of the 12th Doctor's era, when Sarah questioned the Doctor dismissing the death of Scarman's brother. I thought they were a fantastic pair, and were great to watch together. I was impressed with the range of locations visited in the episode, from a trip to a spooky Egyptian tomb right at the start, to the metallic corridors of Sutekh's prison on Mars in Part 4, and the Gothic Victorian mansion in between. It was great to see so many different places in the story. It would have been pretty boring to have the whole plot set in Victorian England, particularly in a story with more parts. Jumping from one place to another helped to move the plot forward, also making it more visually interesting. As much as I loved the episode, and Mummy on the Orient Express, I'd really like a Mummy episode set primarily in Egypt itself, maybe following the Doctor and companion breaking into an Egyptian tomb and gradually discovering some kind of monstrous mummy inside. It would be a hard episode to achieve budget-wise, but if executed in the right way, it could potentially be a very visual and dark story. Because it's never been done on television, however, I am in fact planning a future figure adventure episode based in Egypt. I can't reveal much more at this stage, other than the fact that it'll be part of the quest for Skovox, and we'll see the return of Professor Jones. I don't imagine it'll be an easy episode to produce, but I'm hoping it'll turn out to be a classic. To sum up, I thought Pyramids of Mars was an amazing story, definitely the best I've seen during the series so far. The plot was interesting, intriguing, and easy to understand. 4 parts felt just right. The episode wasn't too long or too short, in my opinion. The 4th Doctor and Sarah Jane made an excellent duo, and Sutekh was a fantastic villain with very real motives. The story was made even more eerie through the setting of an old Gothic house and the presence of the silent, robotic mummies. I really enjoyed watching this story, and it's certainly one of the best Tom Baker episodes I've seen. Next week, I'll be moving on to the Peter Davison era with The Visitation. Until then, goodbye.